This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
So you are a brave man walking into this house.
Because of your...
Did you see the sign on the door? It said disease.
Right.
Disease house.
Do you remember in The Godfather when... Was it Don Corleone, right?
Yeah.
He had... Was it not typhus, or he comes to America?
Yeah.
And they put him in the...
Oh, they have the little sign about the black hand if you want to get past his house, or no?
No. The one where he comes to America and he's on the boat.
Yeah.
And then they test him for... Is it TB maybe?
Oh,
or
okay.
tuberculosis, or or typhus or whatever.
Right.
And then they put like a X, like chalk on his chest, and they put him into this quarantine for like 3 months or whatever. That's what I thought about with you. Is that why you have this thing on your chest?
It could be because I got the flu.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't have a show last week.
Right.
And
you got the worst case ever in recorded history of the flu.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. But I'm a bit of a whiner. I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
But I don't get sick very often. In fact, I almost never get sick. So I think
gout
it's
is
only
not sickness.
fair.
Gout is not sickness.
No, that's injury.
Okay, break your leg. That's injury. Okay, break your arm.
Injury.
Okay.
But getting sick, almost never.
Yeah.
But then I got Bridget sick.
Yeah.
And Sean sick,
Right, yeah.
and Johnny sick, and Tommy sick.
yeah.
And for the last 4 nights, I haven't had to cook dinner because
Win-win.
Because nobody could eat, because nobody could keep any food down.
So you went and got ribs yesterday for yourself and just...
You know what I did yesterday? I made a tuna salad.
Okay.
I can't remember the last time I made a tuna salad, and I just, because everyone in my family hates any kind of fish, I had some herring yesterday.
Ooh. Oh.
I had some tuna salad. I'm like,
you know what?
canned fish.
You are living your best life right now. Yeah.
You see how happy I am?
So, when my mom... Every time... I talk to anybody about my mom and being a German immigrant, right?
Yeah.
They always say, I've always heard Germans are great cooks. Like your mom is a great cook, right? My mom was a horrifically bad
within the world of German cooking only.
The 6 dishes that you
right.
eat, right?
Yeah.
Well, my mom was a terrible cook.
Yeah.
Except for tuna salad.
Oh.
I swear to God, for whatever reason, she had the perfect amount of mayonnaise and then the little relish in there then the little celery and the hard-boiled eggs. And I don't know, she really...
A magician.
She
a tuna
nailed,
magician.
She nailed, everything else was horrific. And I remember, when we'd come home from school or what's for dinner, tuna salad, it was, yes, it's not mushroom steak tartare or whatever shit that you have. It's tuna salad.
My brother was in town a couple weekends ago, and he brought his girlfriend along. And she doesn't really know the family that well, but he's been telling her stories about what it was like when
Does
we were kids.
Does she listen to the podcast? Because she can get the entire... and my family, too.
Probably does not listen to the podcast. But he was telling her about the way that my dad and mom had these rules at the table, and how if you didn't eat your food... You stayed there literally until and there was a time when I stayed with a cold meatloaf for like an hour and a half.
Well, third grade.
Yeah.
You missed the entire third grade.
But the story that he told that I forgot about was my father. If you were making bad faces
about eating,
while he would grab a mirror and put it in front of you, so you had to see what he was looking at because it was so disturbing to him. I work hard all day. I come home.
I grew up in a chicken coop. We ate fat sandwiches from 1940 to 1944, and you can't eat the...
Anyway, we should probably do a show. Remember,
I thought we just did.
Okay, it's time for Minutia Men.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
I also remember my dad, like breakfast. He would wake up early. We'd still be asleep. He would wake up really pretty early. And his breakfast was just like cigarettes.
Yeah.
Rye bread.
And
Coffee and like an inch of butter and orange marmalade, right? That was
my dad when he wanted to have a snack. he would chop up a little green pepper and then fill the plate with salt and just dip it into the salt. And again, both of our fathers.
He died. My dad died when I was 13, and you were 20, right?
Yeah. My dad was 54. So
not great.
Kids, don't try this at home.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, we got a show, I guess. Is that what we call this? Whatever. This comes out of Australia. Well, actually, it's about a flight, so I guess it can come. There's a lot of places it comes from.
Out of the air.
Couple forced to sit next to dead body after the woman dies during flight.
Okay.
An Australian couple, Mitchell Ring and Jennifer Collin. You know, I'm not married. I don't know.
Could be one of those feminist ladies.
Experienced a distressing ordeal when they were asked to sit next to a deceased passenger for 4 hours on a Qatar Airways flight from Melbourne to Venice. The incident occurred when a woman collapsed and died mid-flight, and the flight crew attempted to move the woman who died, the body, to the business class section, but were unable to navigate the narrow aisle.
Yeah, plus, it's dead weight.
Very good. Right. I mean, I've had those the baggages, with you'd get the rollers and everything, right? As a result, they placed the body in a vacant seat next to Ring and Collin and said, "Hey,
was it at least a middle seat?"
With the dead body was in the middle seat.
Yeah,
I think it was. I think it was the aisle. Although,
because that's even more insulting, right? I mean, you're sitting you're also sitting next to a dead body, but they're still making you take the middle seat.
Right. Exactly. Right. That dead body had all the leg room that they needed. Right. So. They placed the body in this vacant seat, and this couple had to stay for the entire flight with the dead lady next to her, right? Now, I've been on some flights.
I think I knew where this is going.
And I totally wish that the person next to me was dead.
Yeah.
Right? If you ever fly next to me, or if you ever see me on an airplane, if you recognize my voice, I don't want to hear about your tool and die business.
Right. Or anything.
Right. I'm sure your granddaughter is lovely. Don't give a shit. You're going to her first communion.
Yep.
I think I've told this story before. I know I've told it to you, which probably means I told it on the podcast. We were flying from California back to Chicago. Okay. And this Indian woman, this old Indian woman, which is probably our age, whatever. But this older Indian woman was there, and it was clear that she had been traveling
like 18 hours,
whatever, and half of it was maybe on donkey.
Right.
She was so absolutely racist. So she was so exhausted. This poor woman. And we come, and we come, and Lila was like 7. The twins were like 4. Oof. And we like surrounded this poor woman. Our seats were surrounded, and you could just tell that she was just, oh my God, this is going to be horrifying. Right?
Stewardess, can I have a gun, please?
So, as this flight from California to Chicago was 4 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah.
This woman, I could tell, was just getting more and more mad at me.
Yeah.
Michelle was like 4 rows up or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how the hell that. Yeah, now I'm articulating this. Yeah. What the? And I'm constantly, you have a 7-year-old and 2 4-year-old twins.
I remember your kids at that age.
They were
no offense.
Needy. They were snotty. They were coughing. They were, slobbering. And this woman, just the daggers that were coming at me as we, okay, we'll be landing in about 45 minutes. And you could just see her just,
She didn't offer to help?
No. Huh. Right. What the hell?
Yeah.
I need some help here.
I'm a man without a woman here. I need help. Well, that sounds like a bad flight. Yeah. But as you mentioned, I've been on worse.
Can you imagine the turbulence of this dead body is just bouncing up and down? But I wonder if, she's not going to eat her peanuts.
Right.
Can I get the pretzels and the peanuts from her?
All right. So I have a story for you. Well, first of all, did you watch the Oscars last weekend?
I watched just the first part. I watched the monologue.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
And then when Culkin won, and then I went to bed.
Okay. Well, you missed Quentin Tarantino coming out at the end.
Yeah, I did not see that.
It turns out that this year was the 30th anniversary of Pulp Fiction being nominated for, I think, let's see, they got
a bunch.
a bunch of Oscars. I don't remember how many, but they had a ton of Oscar nominations that year. Mm-hmm. They didn't win a lot of them. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at the cast. The cast is unbelievable. Oh my God, between the top 12 actors on this call sheet, they have 17 Oscar nominations between them, but only one of them has ever won an acting Oscar.
From the cast of Pulp Fiction.
From the cast of Pulp Fiction.
Wow. Are you asking me?
Would you like to hear the list of names that were in this?
Sure.
All right, so John Travolta,
of course,
Samuel L. Jackson, Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis, Harvey Keitel, Christopher Walken, Roseanne Arquette, Ving Rhames, Tim Roth, Amanda Plummer, Eric Stoltz, and Quentin Tarantino himself.
One of those won an Academy Award.
For acting.
All right, well, so Eric Stoltz was in Mask. He wouldn't have won the costume award.
No, this is only acting.
Did Uma Thurman? No, I don't think she won. Did Plummer? Did Tim Roth win one?
Tim Roth was nominated once for Rob Roy in 1996. Okay. Did not win.
Okay. Travolta has never won.
Nominated twice. Saturday Night Fever and Pulp Fiction, never won.
Samuel L. He
was nominated once for Pulp Fiction, and then he was given an honorary Oscar. I'm not counting that one.
All right. Who else? Ving Rhames?
Ving Rhames was never nominated, but he won a Golden Globe. And remember, he gave it to Jack Lemmon because he felt like he didn't deserve it, and he gave it to Jack Lemmon.
Okay. Right. Who else? Give me else on the
list. Bruce Willis, Harvey Keitel, Christopher Walken, Roseanne Arquette, Amanda Plummer, Quentin Tarantino.
Was Christopher Walken, did he get nominated for Deer Hunter?
He did.
Okay. Did he win at Deer Hunter?
That is the one.
Okay. There you go.
He's nominated twice, lost for Catch Me If You Can, won the Oscar for Deer Hunter in 1978. But that list, only one acting Oscar.
That's crazy.
Roseanne Arquette never nominated. Bruce Willis never nominated. Uma Thurman nominated only once for Pulp Fiction. Amanda Plummer, she was the one at the beginning with the gun, Honey Bunny.
I love you, Honey Bunny. Yeah.
Yeah. Her father's Christopher Plummer. Captain Von Trapp.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either. And Quentin Tarantino obviously has won a bunch, but not for acting.
What has he done lately?
He's basically retired. He said he believes that 9 movies is the perfect number of movies for a director to do, and after that, they're not good anymore. Huh. But anyway, Christopher Walken was in Pulp Fiction for only one scene.
That's the
I'd like to play a little
the shoving the watch.
I mean, it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Here we go.
Now, do you remember when I told you your daddy died in a POW camp? Well, this here is Captain Coons. He was in the POW camp with Daddy.
Hello, little man. Boy, I sure heard a bunch about you. See, I was a good friend of your dad's. We were in that Hanoi pit of hell together over 5 years. Hopefully, you'll never have to experience this yourself, but when two men are in a situation like me and your dad were for as long as we were, you take on certain responsibilities of the other. If it had been me who'd not made it, Major Coolidge, you'd be talking right now to my son, Jim. But the way it turned out, I'm talking to you. Butch, I got something for you. This watch I got here was first purchased by your great-grandfather during the First World War. It was bought in a little general store in Knoxville, Tennessee. Made by the first company to make wristwatches. Up till then, people just carried pocket watches. It was bought by private doughboy Orion Coolidge on the day he set sail for Paris. This was your great-grandfather's war watch, and he wore it every day he was in that war. And And he'd done his duty, went home to your great-grandmother, took the watch off, put an old coffee can, and in that can it stayed till your granddad, Dane Coolidge, was called upon by his country to go overseas and fight the Germans once again. It's time they called it World War II. Great-grandfather gave this watch to your granddad for good luck. Unfortunately, Dane's luck wasn't as good as his old man's. Dane was a Marine, and he was killed, along with all the other Marines at the Battle of Wake Island. Granddad was facing death. He knew it. None of those boys had any illusions, but they were leaving that island alive. So 3 days before the Japanese took the island, your granddad asked a gunner on an Air Force transport named Wanaki, man he'd never met before in his life, to deliver to his infant son, who he'd never seen in the flesh, his gold watch. 3 days later, your granddad was dead, but Wanaki kept his word. After the war was over, he paid a visit to your grandmother, delivering to your infant father his dad's gold watch. This watch. This watch was on your daddy's wrist when they were shot down over Hanoi. He was captured, put in a Vietnamese prison camp. He knew that if the gooks ever saw the watch, it'd be confiscated, taken away. The way your dad looked at it, this watch was your birthright. He'd be damned if any slope's going to put the greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright, so he hid it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass. 5 long years he wore this watch, up his ass. Then he died of dysentery. He gave me the watch. I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass 2 years. Then, after 7 years, I was sent home to my family, and now, little man, I give the watch to you.
That is an unbelievable scene. It is a monologue. It's a 4-minute monologue that he does
flawlessly, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
And it's his only scene in the movie. Yeah. And it is one of the most memorable scenes ever.
Yeah. You know what I really love? And the birds chirping in the background. It's like a weird convoluted.
But that thing was written. That was a written.
And Quentin Tarantino wrote it.
Tarantino.
And don't forget in Inglourious Bastards, that first scene.
Oh my God.
That was written.
Oh my God.
With what a.
Christopher Waltz as the German Nazi guy. Yeah.
It just absolutely.
Yeah. Come back, Quentin. Do a 10th movie.
Yeah, right. Hey, we got a review.
Okay.
This is from Barkley.
Okay, Barkley.
On Pod Tally. I don't really know what this means. It says, when the rubber hits the road, they are the whole 9 yards.
Oh.
Did we
Pod Tally?
Pod Tally.
Well, okay, I don't even know what that is.
Okay. I wonder, did we do some bit about cliches or something at some point?
I don't know.
And I don't, but thank you.
Yeah.
You leave a review. We don't even care if we can understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps us every time you leave a review. It's time for another feature.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls.
So, we haven't been on in a few weeks, and during the interim, I was looking through the Rick and Dave archives, which I've mentioned before are vast. And we have all kinds of stuff in the Rick and Dave archives.
And we've actually, the archives are hidden.
They are.
Up your ass.
They are.
Right? So, appreciate that.
Luckily, with the flu, I had a lot of time to, handle my ass. And I found a great thing. So last week was George Harrison's birthday. Uh-huh. We love George Harrison. Obviously, he's never been on this show. But we did talk to Bill Schnee, who not only knew George Harrison, he had dinner at George Harrison's house. And he told us that story. And by the way, Bill Schnee, in case you're wondering, is a record producer.
Well, and like a bazillion records.
He's produced artists like Steely Dan, Carly Simon, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, all 4 of the Beatles individually. John, Paul, George, and Ringo. And this is his story about being at George's house.
So when we went to England, as I said, to record Paul's song, and George had come back to England as well. And so on the weekend, we took the weekend off, and he invited Richard and I to come to his castle and have dinner. And so that's what we did. And he was married to Patty at the time, and they were both vegetarians, and I wasn't. I did stop eating meat about 10 years later, red meat, which whatever. But at the time, I remember distinctly, what, they don't eat meat? That's weird.
When's the main course?
Yeah. But guys, when that meal was served, I have to tell you, I remember distinctly thinking, wow, I wouldn't care about meat if I could eat like this all the time. She was an excellent cook, and it was really special, the meal. Anyway, and after dinner, sitting around, and some certain rock stars, fellow British musicians, kept showing up. And at one point, one of them said, "Why don't we go in the catacombs?" And George said, "Why don't we?" And it turns out that the guy that built this castle, or the first owner thereof, must have been one weird guy, because under his huge property, it went for, I'd like to say miles, and it probably wasn't miles, but it was a long way. I just know that he gave us all a torch, and we went down under, and the whole idea of the thing was, it was sort of like a house of mirrors, except there's no mirrors. It's just a house of, tunnels that you're walking through. And they all get off. They would all get off scaring each other and me, which is pretty easy to do if you're the least bit claustrophobic. And I didn't know until that night that I am the least bit claustrophobic.
I am too.
And it was wild, and I know it's going around every turn. You're wondering if some guy's going to jump back out and go. But honestly, the very worst one was when I went. I remember going around this one corner rather briskly, and there was a complete skeleton there.
Oh, jeez.
That was worse from my heart than any of the guys screaming at me or whatever.
Guys, and it was the engineer on the last album. There it is.
Guys are such a simple.
Right. It doesn't matter how famous you are. Right. It doesn't matter, who you know, what you've been.
Right.
We're all just infants.
I bet the Dalai Lama has done dick jokes, right?
Yeah. Right. How are you, my son? What is that on your shirt?
Yeah, right. The Dalai Lama has pulled rubles out of people's ears all the time. Yeah, I mean, we're absolutely.
That's why we're so charming.
Some flatulence joke or whatever. That was a great story, and I mean, just the visual of. The torches with hey, George Harrison is
I know.
Two people in front,
exactly.
Hey, I got another story if you want to hear.
I do.
Man endures 3-hour childbirth simulation to prove his love to his fiancée.
Okay.
In an ill-fated attempt to prove his devotion, a man in China...
I thought I was a puss.
A man in China ended up in a hospital and lost a section of his small intestine after enduring a 3-hour labor pain simulation at his girlfriend's request. You know what? I'm not a marriage counselor, but red flag.
Yeah.
Okay. The couple from Henan province took part in the controversial test after the woman's family... Another red flag. Insisted her boyfriend should experience a fraction of what women endure during childbirth.
Right.
So evidently this is not something that is, I don't know how typical it is in China, but it's done. It's like, it's a thing. Right. Using electrical currents to mimic uterine contractions.
Oh my God.
The procedure started with gradually increasing pain levels. And that gradually increasing pain level, that actually is a good way to simulate marriage.
Oh, very good. Right. Very good.
The woman chronicling the event on social media. So he's going through this, and I didn't see the videos, but I bet there could be a video for likes. Like if you, like and subscribe if you like my boyfriend losing his intestine. Described how her boyfriend became screaming at level 8, sobbing at level 10, and ended up gasping for air at level 12.
Jeez.
Reminds me of Spinal Tap, right?
Yeah.
Following the session, he was drenched in sweat, and he had stomach pain.
Yeah.
I mean, not nearly as bad as your stomach pain last week.
No.
But stomach pain.
Yeah.
Couple days later, he went to the hospital, and they discovered that basically part of his small intestine was irreparably damaged. They had to do emergency surgery. Spoiler alert, they're not getting married.
Oh, really?
Okay. His family canceled the engagement.
Oh, good.
And are threatening legal action here, right? Now, again, this is something that people do in China. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't need any simulation, right?
No.
Because I'm a 2-time kidney stone survivor.
Right. Yeah.
And let's be honest.
It's on your license plate.
Let's be honest. A kidney stone,
Okay.
and even the one that I had in March that wasn't particularly big, and in fact, I'm not 100% sure I even was able to see it in the toilet after I went to the bathroom. It's way worse than childbirth.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I've had chest colds that are worse than childbirth.
Okay. So what day did you guys lose all your female listeners?
I'm kidding.
Man.
It's a joke.
Yeah, I know. Jokes that we have told to our wives many times.
Right. And they love them.
They apparently don't think they're funny. All right, I have a story for you. I don't know. What do you think is the most important thing in the world? If you had to pick one thing, the most important thing in the entire world.
Other than this podcast.
Other than this podcast, yeah.
And creamer for my coffee.
That's close.
Just love, Rick.
No, it's eggs. Eggs.
Oh, okay.
Eggs apparently are the most important thing in the world. I don't know if you know this, but apparently eggs are more valuable than gold right now.
Thank God Trump is going to lower those prices.
Thank God. Somebody has stolen 100,000 eggs from a distribution trailer in south central Pennsylvania because eggs are valuable.
Well,
now.
they're like $9 a dozen now or whatever.
Those eggs were worth over $40,000. $40,000. Now, I knew people loved eggs. They love eggs so much, Dave, that they elected a guy who's been convicted of 34 crimes to be the president of the United States.
Because of the price of eggs.
That's how much they love eggs.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, now, if they love eggs this much, we really don't have enough eggs in this show.
Oh, okay. Is there a parody song coming up?
No, no, that would be ridiculous. No, we need to feature more eggs. So I went to AI.
Okay.
And I asked AI to write a poem about eggs.
Okay.
But I thought eggs, it's not enough to be just about eggs.
Eggs, legs, but
eggs and puppies.
Oh.
I wanted a poem about eggs and puppies. Okay. And from now on,
those are the two most important things.
From now on, we will be the most popular show in the world.
Because we just a few minutes ago lost everybody.
Yeah.
So now
they're all back.
Okay.
They're all back. Here we go. You ready? Yeah. This is beautiful. It's written by AI.
Now, ChatGPT or which one?
Yeah, ChatGPT. A tiny shell, a fragile thing, holds life within, a joy to bring. Like a puppy, soft and new, waiting to burst with eyes of blue. The crack appears, a gentle sound, a tiny paw on soft ground, a puppy's bark, a chick's first peep, each new beginning, sweet and deep. With wagging tail and feathered wing, they dance and play, a joyful spring, a world unfolds so bright and wide, where love and life forever reside, from egg to pup, a bond so pure, to love and learn with every day, so pure, a tiny heart, forever sure. To love and learn with every day, in playful leaps they bound and play. A puppy, a chick beneath the sun, their appetite for wholesome fun ends only when the day is done. Then puppy's hungry and chick cannot run.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
But at the end, the puppy eats the chick.
Right. Yeah. We need to have a poem about...
Not bad, actually.
No, not bad at
Yeah.
all. We're going to have to combine the couple forced to sit next to the dead body and the 3-hour childbirth simulation for next week will be that poem.
Well, there we go. I just wanted to say that to the people that have been telling me that ChatGPT is worthless, I've just proved you wrong.
I hear that there's a business that you could actually generate books via AI.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's time for another feature.
Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
Okay, so even though we haven't been on, we're still receiving the emails.
Yeah.
And this one is from Claire. Claire sent it to us last week. I'm not the kind of person who gushes over meeting celebrities, she says. But I was in Arkansas on vacation about 10 years ago and saw Dick Van Dyke across the room from us.
Yeah.
Now, Dave,
oh, my God.
He's your favorite.
I love Dick Van Dyke.
The Dick Van Dyke Show is my all-time favorite show, just like Dave.
What's her name?
Claire.
Is Claire single?
I don't know.
Because that's my eHarmony match right there.
That
would
is.
be if I was on eHarmony.
I don't know what made me do it, but I got up, walked across the room, leaving my husband behind, and went right up to him. I said, Mr. Van Dyke, I just want you to know you're my favorite all-time actor. I think I've seen every episode of your show. He smiled graciously and asked, which show? I said, well, the first one. I also loved you in Mary Poppins. He said, thanks. And I went back to my husband. My husband said, so is Jerry Van Dyke a nice guy? My heart sank. I turned around. Sure enough, it was Jerry, not Dick. He didn't say a word.
Oh, that's great.
He didn't say a word. So I like that story. That's a fun one.
Jerry Van Dyke was great in Coach.
He was. I like Jerry Van Dyke too.
But
he was actually on the Dick Van Dyke Show too. Remember, he played a couple of episodes.
Was it
his brother,
his hypnotized brother?
Yeah, and he played pool. He's like a pool shark or something.
Yeah. Wow, now that is.
I love that one. Thank you, Claire, for sending that. If you want to send them, please do. We're available just about everywhere. You can find us. All right. We have another show called Minutia Men Celebrity Interview. Last week we talked about Eric Litt. He was our
who did
Oscar
very
picker.
well. He did very well.
He got 4 out of 5.
Right, and he missed. The only one he missed was the one that he said total coin flip.
Yeah, and he picked Demi Moore for Best Actress, and it was Mikey Madison.
Right.
But if you tune in this coming week, we'll have another new guest, and that is Billy Gardell. Billy Gardell was Mike and Molly. He was Mike.
Mike, right.
Yeah. He also was in a show called Bob Hart's Abishola or something like that, I think.
Is he a stand-up?
He's a stand-up comic, yeah. And he lived in Chicago for a while. We had a great chat about his history in Chicago, and you got to check it out. It'll be the Minutia Men Celebrity Interview.
It'll be on Wednesday.
Yeah. And Dave is not part of this one.
Yeah.
They changed the time on us at the last second, so...
And I was driving.
And he was on his way over here, so I had to do it by myself. But anyway...
Did you rip on me like you tend to do?
No, this time I didn't.
Okay.
I think this is the first time.
Okay.
Because it wasn't your fault this time for not being there. Okay. That's the only time. All right, we have people to thank. I'm going to let you do it this week. You get to do all the thank yous.
Well, Ed Sella for distributing. Come on. You know, again, he goes in every email box and he puts this in.
He does.
Tony Lasano.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without Tony. Right. Want to thank you.
Oh, please.
I want to thank the family, the Chinese family that made their prospective son-in-law go through childbirth.
Yeah.
That was great.
Jerry Van Dyke.
Jerry Van Dyke.
Eggs.
We
love eggs.
Want to thank the woman who sent the letter.
Yes. Claire.
I want to.
Okay, I think there's enough thank yous.
I don't remember.
Right.
Now I'm grasping.
Yeah.
Now this is like an Oscar.
See, it's a little harder than it looks, isn't it?
It's like the Oscars. And hey, man, I'm sorry if I forgot you. I was put on the spot.
Did you throw me your piece of gum? Did you see that? Adrian Brody, right before he went to give his speech, he walked up 3 stairs, stopped, took the gum out of his mouth and tossed it to his wife.
Oh,
yeah. His wife, by the way, the ex-wife of Harvey Weinstein. And he thanked his kids. He thanked her kids,
Harvey
who were
Weinstein's
kids, as part of his speech. I was going to give him a little. Anyway, we will be back again soon.
Unless
there's like a whole
flu or
I might have brought it into your house now. It might be unless we're back next week with a brand new episode of
Minutia Man.
The proceeding was a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Find our other great shows on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at RadioMisfits.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?